Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Maryland Darling Show, and welcome to another episode of 30 Inks 30 Days. How is everyone doing today? Are you having a nice day? I hope you're having a nice day wherever you are in the world. Today we are looking at a bluish-grayish ink from Colorverse Butterfly Nebula. Thanks go out to the OC Pen Club for providing the sample for this review. Before we start the review, I am going to share this with my friends on social media. I would encourage you at this time to share this with your friends on social media so that they can come and hang out with us too. And at this time, I'm also going to ask you, if you have not done so already, and you're following 30 Inks 30 Days, please subscribe. I do an ink review almost every day. So if you have a favorite ink that you like, all you have to do is go to the search box in my profile and see if I've done the review or not. Hi Carlos, how are you doing today? How did you find the nib? What nib? Oh no, did I find the nib? No, I did not. So I bought a new one because I can't wait. I don't want to wait the 3 months to whatever you lost. Or I did. I lost it at the OC Pen Club. There was a girl. No, there was a girl. There was someone there that distracted me while I was putting my things away, and I'm not saying that it's her fault, but it's kind of her fault. Otherwise, I might have clicked that I'd put that nib in that little tiny box, and I would have put it somewhere important. But I was distracted. I was being shooed out. So it was kind of a thing. And I may have incidentally thrown it in the trash. I have no idea what happened to it. Anyway, let's do this ink for today. Alright, this is Colorverse Butterfly Nebula. If we take a very close look, oh my god, look at all of that shimmer. Wow. This is a very beautiful gray ink with some shimmer going on. It's kind of like a pearlescent color too, like a light pink, pearlescent. Very nice. Here is our ink swatch of the day, and water resistance test shows that it does have a little bit of water resistance. However, not quite enough that I would want to use it on the outside of an envelope. Not because it'll wash away, but because in its general form, it's a very, very light ink. So here is our ink painting of the day. It definitely really stands out. The whole galaxy looking paintings that I've been doing of the Nick Stewart technique, you can see all of that beautiful shimmer. Wow. Alright, and here's our toilet paper chromatography. This is crazy. All of this is shimmer. And then right along the outside is kind of the same thing that we're seeing here. There's like a greenish leftover. And then on the outside of the green there's a blue. And then on the outside of that there's like a purple, very like a lilac-y purple. And then on the very outside there's pink. And you can clearly see the pink. The purple, not so much. Oh yeah, you can kind of see it. I'm gonna sneeze. Oh my goodness. Shimmering, wow. Yeah. The pearl shimmer is pigment base, particle base, or dye base. No, this is a particle. The color, the ink is dye based, but the shimmer is particle based. Okay, let's do some paper review, shall we? This is the Pen and Gear Memo Book from Walmart.com. A beautiful shimmer, however, the shimmer does smudge. So be careful if you're using this on, say, slick paper. It definitely will not absorb the sparkle, so it will end up kind of all over the place. There's no feathering, no bleeding, no ghosting. This is lightweight traveler's notebook paper. Nice shimmer, no feathering, no bleeding, no ghosting. This is super lightweight traveler's notebook paper. Had a little trouble getting the ink to grab the page, but when it did, it's not too bad. So no feathering, no bleeding, no ghost, a little bit of ghosting. Moleskin 70 GSM paper. Oi. Feather like a chicken bled through the page. This is a Field Notes Journal. Nice shimmer, but feathered like a chicken, bled through the page. Excuse me just 1 second. Alright, this is Fabriano Eco Qua 85 GSM. Nice shimmer, no feathering, no bleeding, and no ghosting. This is a Yush 100 GSM paper. Nice shimmering, no little bit of shading, no feathering, no bleeding, and no ghosting. This is 52 GSM Tomoe River. A nice shimmer, nice shading, no feathering, no bleeding, and only a minimal amount of ghosting. This is the journal from the Dollar Tree. Nice shimmer, nice shading, no feathering, no bleeding, no ghosting. This is Marmon Nemosiny 80 GSM dot grid. Nice shimmer, nice shading, no feathering, no bleeding, no ghosting. This is Oxford Optic paper. Nice shimmer, nice shading, but it is seeping into the paper. You can definitely tell. And it did bleed through a little bit, and it did ghost a little bit. This is Clairefontaine 90 GSM. Oh dear. Nice shimmer, nice shading, but this one is definitely feathering into the page. But no bleeding and only a little bit of ghosting. Interesting. This is the Lamy booklet, 90 GSM. Nice shimmer, nice shading, no feathering, no bleeding, no ghosting. Barely any ghosting. Exceed 100 GSM heavyweight paper from Walmart.com. This one is seeping into the page too, you can tell. A little bit of bleeding, a little bit of ghosting. This is Up and Up Wide Roll Composition Book from Target.com. Nice shimmer, nice shading. Little bits of maybe just some heavy ghosting. What do you mean by sipping? Seeping. Seeping means to absorb. Do you see the little splotches inside of the that look dark? There's like a light spot and then a dark spot. And then it feathers into the page. That's called seeping. And you can kind of see some of the inks do it. In the brown ink here, you can see that there's little, what look like black spots almost. Let's see, where's another ink? It does it. This green one does it too. You can see inside of the letters there's little darker green spots. You can tell that it's seeping into the page. And that is reflected by looking at the back of the page where you can see some of the dots coming through. And here on Butterfly Nebula, you can see that those little dots are almost the same dots that you can see inside of the letters. And this one feathered, bled, and ghosted through the page. Now, ghosting is different than bleed through. I will explain. This is the Nanami 7C 68 GSM Tomoe River. See how this one doesn't have any splotching? All of the shading is very smooth and intricated into each other. This one has no feathering, no bleeding, and no ghosting. This is the Rhodia Dot Pad 80 GSM. Nice shimmer, nice shading, no feathering, no bleeding, and no ghosting. This is Buffet handmade paper from Italy. This one is having a little bit of splotching. You see a line of splotching in here, a line of splotching, and right there a line of splotching. And you can see that there's little micro feathers into the page, but when you look at the reverse, there's no bleeding and no ghosting. Very interesting. U-style notebook paper. You can see the dark splotches inside of the letters. It will look like little darker bits of color. It's very splotchy. The shading is kind of all over the place. And it is feathering heavily into the page. And you can see it did seep through just a little bit. But not too terribly. So, this is CVS Caliber notebook paper. You can see that the transitions are really nice and the shading. The shimmer is nice. There's no feathering, no bleeding, and no ghosting. Oxford notebook paper. Nice shimmer. Nice shading. No bleeding and no ghosting. Mead wide rolled notebook paper. See-through is ghosting, but when it's go all the way through the page, that's bleed through. When you can see it through the page, let me see. This is the best example I can use. So this is Mead wide rolled composition book, and you can see that it is splotchy into the page, and you can see that the letters are splotchy. This is bleed through. You see these darker spots? That's bleed through. Now you see this line here? This is ghosting. It's almost coming through the page, but where the little, this is bleed through. You can tell where the little spots, that's bleed through. Like this word here barely has any bleed through spots. You can see just a little bit, but you can kind of see the words directly through the page. That's ghosting. But if you can see the complete bleed through, and you would not use the back side of this page because you wouldn't be able to read any side of the page. So that's bleed through, bleed through, bleed through, bleed through. Not so much bleed through, bleed through. Not so much bleed through, bleed through. Not so much bleed through. The lighter inks are harder to see with the bleed through, but it does. This is today's, and it did bleed through the page, as you can see. Alright, 5-star notebook paper. It is feathering into the page. There's my pointer. If you see these little tiny wispy things coming off, you can see these wispy things here. All over. There's one, there's one. Those wispy things are feathers. That's feathering. Let's see, let's take a look at some other. That one's feathering, that one's feathering, that one's feathering. So that one's feathering really bad. Feathering. That one did not too bad. That one did not too bad. And that one's feathering pretty bad. That one's feathering pretty bad. So, and then you look at the back of the page, and there's, this one is just on the border of bleed through. This is bleed through. This is ghosting. It's not bleeding through the page, but you can see that it's thinking thoughts about it. This is a little bit of bleed through and a little bit of ghosting. See, this is ghosting. This here is right there, that little bit that are coming through, that's bleed through. But this here, that's ghosting. Yes, ghosting is where you can see it through the page, but but it's not seeped all the way through the page. See, this is bleed through, that's bleed through. Most of these pages, if you have them on a white background, you can see all of the ghosting. But because I have a blue background, it kind of mutes the major amounts of ghosting. See? If I put a white background, you can see all the way through it. So, all of them would be ghosting. But that's not fair to some of them because they're just lighter than others. They're darker than others. Anyway, this is Feathering Like a Chicken, and it did bleed. Oh, maybe just some heavy ghosting. This is HP Premium 32-pound copy paper. See how the shading goes from light to dark, but it has this middle line here, and it's very smooth. It's not jaggedy. It's not. You can tell that it's not going to be bleeding through the page. Beautiful shading. Right where you slow down, that's where the ink pools. And where the ink pools is usually where you're going to have a little bit of bleed through. Unless the paper is very hardy, you can see some really nice shading there in the sunburst. Not so much this one, but some of them you get some really nice shading. Wuthering Heights is kind of feathery, but it's also got some nice shading going on. So, this has some nice shimmer. And I don't see any feathering. No bleed. And sometimes I have to hold it up to the light to even see where the words begin. And then I put my thumb there. And then I bring it back over into the light so you guys can see it. And then I look at it and I'm like, well, if I can't see it with my eyes, you probably won't be able to see it with yours, but there is just a little bit of ghosting. You can kind of see it right there. But if I put it down on the blue background, you can barely see it. Alright, this is JNB Copper Plate Graph Pad from JohnDaleBooks.com. Sorry. A little bit of shading, nice shimmer, no feathering, no bleeding, barely any ghosting. This is a difficult ink to work with because it's so light, you can barely even see it. This is original Crown Mill 100 GSM paper. See on the F over here, it's just feathering just a little bit. This one's feathering just a little bit right there. But overall, I can't tell that it's feathering, so barely any feathering, and I can't even see it through the page, so no bleeding, no ghosting. Okay, let's take a look at some comparison panel. I don't even know where this ink goes. I think it goes in it might go in the blue department, it might go in the purple department, it might go in the gray department. So we're gonna have to take a look and see what we got. Let's look in the light blue department first, because see if there's anything here that matches anywhere near this ink. Okay. Here we have Colorverse Butterfly Nebula next to, sorry about all the movements, can't be helped. Alright, this is Colorverse Butterfly Nebula next to Tasha Jean's Dark Light Washed. Why? I don't even think that one goes in here. This one goes in the next department. I think that this one actually goes in the next department too. No. 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 Okay, so none of these matched whatsoever. Let's look at the blue-grays, maybe. Alright, here we go. Birmingham Molten Tin is kind of close. It's darker. Diamond Prussian Blue. Lamy Crystal Benatite. No, no, no. No, no, no. No, no. Sailor Monyo Haha. Indigo Bunting Blue. Sailor Monyo Nadeshiko. Cotton Blue. One More Sleep. Wearing Gold the Mind. That one's kind of in the ballpark. Real Dark Blue and Ferdinand von Zeppelin. Let's look at some purples, because it kind of leans purple to me. Dominant Industry Dawn. That's kind of close. I need to organize my purples. I have too many purples. I need to... no. Sailor Monyo Neko Yanagi. Venta Inks Violet Mascara. Noodler's Tchaikovsky. Schaefer Purple. Blue Caprese. And that's it. I need to make a blurple category. Alright, wait a minute. I just want to look at some grays, because might be one or two grays in here. Fuyushogun. No. Birmingham Pen Company Silver, Sterling Silver. Diamine Ghost. Troublemaker Moon River. No, not really. Wow. I don't even know where to put this one. It's kind of like in its own little category of like cloud inks, I like to call them, because they're the color, they're light, they're so light that you can barely write with them, and yet there's so many different colors of them that they kind of look like sunset clouds. So, what do you guys think of today's ink? Are you guys looking for a very, very light ink? I gotta tell you though, this one is very difficult to read. This was in a 1.1 millimeter stub, and I can't imagine putting it in a smaller nib than a 1.1 millimeter stub. This, very juicy because it's so light, like you can't even read it. But, hi Ron, how are you? Very interesting ink. When you zoom out, it looks a little gray. Yeah, it is kind of gray. It's kind of a purpley-ish gray. Purpley pinkish gray. Do you guys have this ink? What do you guys think about this ink? Are you thinking thoughts about maybe doing some art with this ink? Let me know in the comment section below. That is all for today. I want to thank you all for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. I hope that you learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the little bell. Make sure it's set to all so when I upload new content, YouTube notifies you. And don't forget to check out the description of this video and follow everybody who's doing 30 inks 30 days. And if you'd like to contribute to the channel, consider subscribing. And if you want to help support the channel even more, you can go to my Patreon at patreon.com/MarilynDarlingShow and become a member. So, that's all I got for today. We will see you very soon. Okay, love you, bye.